Well, I think this is sneaking up on a few people. I know you fell off your chair when I told you pre-show, but Darcy Moore is sneaking up on everyone to become a third-time All-Australian.
Wow.
Because his last 8 weeks in particular have been as good as any key defender in the competition. Now, you start by saying, well, he's the leader of the best defence in the comp. In fact, it's the best defence we've seen in 3 years, averaging under 68 points a game. And when you take a look at Darcy Moore's ratings for the season, it starts to show how impactful he is. So his play rating there, that's of all defenders. But if you take the key defensive post, he's the second highest key rated player behind Sam Taylor, who's going to miss a lot of footy now. It's going to be interesting to see whether Taylor actually qualifies, because they now have the game's limit to make the All-Australian team. You can see his intercept possessions, intercept marks, and spoils are a key factor. That's one layer of being an important key defender. The next one is being able to win your one-on-ones and defend. Now, he's been in the most one-on-one contests of any defender in the competition this year, and he's the second best at winning his one-on-ones. Only Nick Vlosten has a higher rate of the top 50 defenders that have been in one-on-ones, and his loss rate there, he's the third best in the competition. So he's doing a lot of things, I think, that are going under the radar, and we'll just show some of the vision from the game against Carlton. But his last 8 weeks, he's only had 6 goals kicked on him. 6 goals in 8 weeks. He's held his opponents goalless in 5 of his last 8 games. And we're talking Logan Morris, Jeremy Cameron, Josh Tracy, Marbial Chol, De Koning and Curnow, who played on in this game. Melksham played on him in one of the games and he had 2 goals kicked on him. But he's surprising everyone with how well he's going. And these sort of things here that people don't see. So they're just a hand in, another one of those spoils, a second effort to get involved. And we just see this. So we see the end play where Collingwood win the footy back, off they go to the races and they score from this. But we don't see exactly what Darcy Moore's doing. And I just think, Kingy, I'd like to get your take on where it sits with the key defenders, because in recent weeks, Cal Wilkie's last month, he's had 13 goals kicked on him. He's just dropped off. I mentioned Taylor is injured. Collins is now injured and just dropped away. And Harris Andrews is the other one, but he's had the third most goals kicked on him of any player in the competition. And his one-on-one loss rate, he's dropped down outside the top 20. So he's still going well, but there's no one really jumping off the page this year. And I think Darcy Moore's coming with a bullet.
Well, the All-Australian selectors always say you have to have had an All-Australian year to be available for selection. Not we have to pick 2. It's the same as the ruck discussion or the wing position.
You don't think they might not pick 2 key defenders?
They might go an undersized key. Well, would Nick Vlosten be in the discussion against those key players you just mentioned?
Yep. But Jack Silvani.
Well, same. Yeah, I think you could look at that next layer down and not necessarily just gift it to guys like Wilkie, who maybe are not deserving of it at the moment.
It's great vision, Joey. We haven't heard anything about Darcy Moore at all this season.
And he gets criticised a lot. But he's already been a 2-time All-Australian, and you've got to remember what he's doing with his defence in the competition. I know he's got great support around him, Jeremy Howe and co, but I think it's just sneaking up on a few and just take notice. It's going to be a tough night for Ben King, put it that way, in this game. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a great occasion. But
what's a pass mark for Ben King?
Oh, if he kicks 2, I think he's done it.
2?
Yeah, if he kicks 2, I think he'll take that against Darcy Moore. As I said, he's holding his opponents scoreless most weeks.
Suns any chance here? It's a massive game for this football club. Arguably the biggest home and away game in the club's history.
I think they're a chance, absolutely. This could be their big moment, their defining moment. Not going to be easy against the Pies, but I think they'll give it a shake.
Right, from Collingwood to Carlton, Tom De Koning has been such a big talking point as he weighs up this $1.7 million offer from St Kilda. We think he will accept it, Kingy, but he's been playing more forward than ruck in the past week or 2. You've crunched the numbers. What's it saying?
Well, you spoke about this on Sunday on First Crack, and I just thought, OK, let's have a look at what specifically you're talking about. So the numbers are the numbers in terms of his player ratings and where he sits in the competition as a ruckman or as a general player, really, one of the 800 strong. So this is what we talked about at the start of the year. So his form, rounds 1 to 7, he only had a couple in front of him, really. And his ball-winning capabilities were really strong. So his ability to win contests. So his work inside the clearance, in that 5-metre bubble...
The
shoebox was brilliant. Outside of that, not really involved a lot. But round 8 onwards, he's lost that. He's lost that competitive nature in tight and tough. So I don't know if he can gather that back. I feel like that's an easy fix. That's just a mindset issue, which you touched on. Has he checked out? Has he already left from Moorabbin?
Is it weighing on him? Yep.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. So if you're talking about his ability to win ball in the bubble, then you've got to talk about what's happening outside of that. So I'm then looking, OK, how does he influence the game? If you look at his intercept marking game, he's taken 10 intercept marks in the first 4 weeks and then 1 a week for the next 11 weeks.
To drop off.
So 10 in 4 and 11 in the next 11. So that's a concern for me. So he's not really a major part of your defensive profile. If you look at his contested marking, he's taken 14 contested marks for the year. 10 of the 14 were intercepts. So the opposition kicked the ball, and you can be climbing over smalls to take those. So he's taken 1 contested mark in the forward 50 for the year.
1 contested
And
mark
I couldn't believe that.
for the whole year.
For the whole year, and this is the killer stat here. So if you look at guys that have played 120 minutes or more in our competition that have played forward, all sizes, all shapes, 293 have played more than 120 minutes. He's rated 285. And the names below that, so 285 to 293,
Go on.
Are on minimum chips.
Yep.
Minimum chips. We could name them, it'd be
Kids.
unfair.
Yep.
Kids, guys just learning the caper, smalls that really should be playing midfield, guys that are doing tagging roles, those types of players, not marquee commodities. So the bottom line is he can't play forward. He
He's a
just
ruckman.
can't. He's a ruckman or behind the ball are where he's strong. He goes at the footy when he sees it coming in. He's a classic old style ruckman, back pocket style.
You'd rather play him back than forward.
Well, the pay packet says he has to play forward, but the logic says he can only play behind the ball.
So Michael Voss has come out and said he needs Tom De Koning forward, and I think he's going to stick with him there.
He
You
is.
think Vossi's flirting with his own career by continuing to play Tom De Koning forward if it's not going to help his team?
I think it's madness. He's been targeted 20 times in the forward 50, 0 return. No goals, 0 goals for the player.
20 entries.
20 times he's
20
been the
times to
target.
him?
Yep. Zero goals.
Wow.
And the guys that have done that, again, they're names that you worry about. They're names that you don't want to be compared to. So I'm looking at this guy and I'm saying, are you getting the most... Look, it's a big 7 weeks. You've got to get the most out of this guy wherever you're playing. So I think it's almost making him redundant, playing him as a deep forward option.
Jay,
They're amazing numbers.
Do you
Does that
reckon
make
Vossi, as a conversation, do you reckon Vossi sat down with Tom De Koning and had a chat and said, look, let's forget about your future, whatever that is. I just need you. I just need you back engaged and committed with your effort and intent for the last 7 weeks. That's all I'm asking.
I'd be shocked if they're not talking about his focus.
Yeah.
You know, and some of the potential distractions, because you're right, Kingy, they're amazing numbers of the season. He is not the same player. We were talking about him as one of the... Max Gawn said pre-season he's going to be the player of the generation. And that clearly hasn't happened. Joe, before we move on, does this make you nervous as a Saints fan? Because it's a big pay packet, and they're alarming numbers.
I was looking at the first 7 rounds. That's what I was looking at. As a Saints person, that's what you're looking at. You're looking at the first 7 rounds where he was
That's the problem,
third highest ranked player in the comp and saying, maybe he just has checked out. Maybe his mind has wandered when he's known, and hopefully known from a St Kilda perspective, that he's leaving, and you're hoping you get that 7 weeks for the next 7 years.
Round 7.
Yeah,
There's been a lot of footy since round 7. And the guys, I just can quickly compare... 0 goal return from 20 targets is with guys like Jefferson, who's just making his way at the Demons, Caminiti, who's just still learning the caper at St Kilda, McCartan, who's a fullback that went to full forward, and we said, get him out of there. It's not working. So this guy's got a decision to make. He either straps on the big boy pants and has a crack, which he's not doing, in the bubble of clearance or as a deep forward.
We'll have a look tomorrow night against Brisbane. Can't wait for that one. Great analysis. Kingy, Joey, the Crows offence, the 3-headed monster. How's it travelling?
Yeah, looking forward to this game, as we said, against the Western Bulldogs. We've spoken a lot about the Dogs defensively, particularly against the top 9 teams. Well, now we want to take a look at the Adelaide Crows offence, this high-octane offence, but how do they stack up against the top 9? Because at the moment, there are those little bit of talk. Are they a little bit of flat-track bullies? Because they score well against the bottom 9. They're efficient. They move the ball. But so far this year against the very best, they haven't been able to do it really. Now, there's been some reasons, and when we take a look at the last 5 games they've played against the top 9 teams, there are some low scores there, but you've got to factor in some weather conditions, a game in Tassie against Hawthorn. Now they get no excuses. Under the lid at Marvel Stadium, their last 3 games there, they've averaged over 100 points. A Dogs defence that is vulnerable. Can we see the best of the Adelaide Crows offensively against another contender and put them to the sword? That's what I'm looking forward to. There's no excuses. The big boys should be launching with the dry conditions and see if they can put a score on the board. So you mentioned the Geelong Giants game is going to be high scoring. I think this one, because the Dogs have kicked 100 points, 10 of the last 13 at Marvel. Adelaide love Marvel. I reckon this will be a shootout as well, so can't wait.
Be a big statement from the Crows.
Who wins?
Bulldogs for mine.
Dogs.
Under the lid.
Air Adelaide? You going with Air Adelaide?
Air Adelaide, I love Air Adelaide.
I reckon they'll take a few contested
marks.
marks.
I think they'll contested mark their way to victory. You?
I'm leaning towards the Dogs.